Imagine having your very own moneymaker that nobody else knows about, meaning you could ask whatever price that you liked and there was no competition at all. I've tried it before, searching the whole of Gillinor, and was so close to achieving it, but this time I was determined to find one that only I know, and then to see how much someone would be willing to pay for it. Every couple of weeks, I do a video where I try to find moneymakers very few people know about, and contrary to belief, a lot of work goes into finding every single one of these. In this list of old school RuneScape items, occasionally I come across an unusual name, a picture I've never seen before, or just something different. Something that someone who's played this game for a very long time has never even heard of. Most of the time, it's just an old holiday item from a Christmas event or Easter event years ago. Something untradeable or a discontinued item, but every so often I find a gem and I take it to the only place you're truly going to know if you're the only one currently trading in it, and that is the All Bulks Discord. These guys collect anything at all. If old school RuneScape had toilets, they pay 10,000 GP a log, and we aren't talking about willows. You see, they collect rare items, and the rarer they are, the more difficult to obtain, unusual or just outright strange, the better. But to find an item that even these guys don't know about was the ultimate challenge. Every time I thought I had one, they already knew about it. But I did know what the secret to finding one was. I stumbled on an item that very few people use, a pie that you don't eat. If you haven't heard of a mud pie, you can use it as a fun weapon in PvP. All you do is equip it and throw the pie at someone in the wilderness, then you both have a laugh and a joke about it. It did pass a few of the tests needed to make it my very own moneymaker. It is unusual, very few people use it, and it has an extremely low trade volume, less than 100 most days, but it failed in other areas. The main one being anything that can be traded on the GE is 100% already being collected, and sure enough, a quick check on the Discord showed me that there was already a collector for these. However, if mud pies are rare, then I knew already that raw mud pies would be even rarer. Better still, when I looked into it, this pie, like many others, had a partially completed version that couldn't be traded on the GE, but it could be traded from player to player. I then searched every single Discord, tweet, Google, absolutely everything for any mention of these, and sure enough, not a single buyer of partially completed mud pies anywhere in sight. At that point, I wasn't even worried that there weren't any known buyers, because that made it even more valuable. The only question was how difficult are they to make and how much should I actually try and sell them for. To create them just requires a pie shell, currently around 350 GP each, and compost, which is 25 GP, so just 375 GP per pie. The best part is how easy they were to make. I started off thinking I'll test out 2000, and because you're just preparing the pie and you're not actually cooking it, you can do it stood at any bank. Better still, it has a make X option, so it could literally create 14 at a time on an alt, which took under 20 seconds, all AFK whilst playing on my main. Half the time I wasn't even paying attention to it, and before I knew it I'd made them all. So I decided at that point I might as well do 10k, since a lot of collectors prefer a larger amount. Now I had no idea what to price these at, but if I did this efficiently, they would have taken about 3.5 hours to make and cost me 3.75 million supplies. So I figured I'd ask for 2k each, and I could always reduce it later if I didn't have a buyer. It did take me a while, but I wasn't in any rush. These things generally take a long time anyway, and a buyer came along with no haggling at all. He was happy with the price and paid me 20 million GP for my very own moneymaker. Well, technically his very own moneymaker now, which made it almost 5 million GP per hour. But I also had another idea. Whilst trying to sell them, I was wondering if anyone else would pay me to collect for their very own moneymaker, and they did. If you remember a few weeks back, I'd done a moneymaker on White Knight equipment. Well, I found out why the battle axes are always a high price, because this guy collects them and every other single battle axe in the game apart from Rune. For his collection, he was willing to pay high alch price for the common ones, plus 1k for black and 4000 GP for each white one. This was ideal for me. I didn't want something very time consuming, so it was perfect. The one thing people who make videos have is a ton of alts, and most of these items can even be bought in free to play. So all I did is simply put in tons of offers on a load of my alts in the GE, since they sell for less than the alch price that I was going to be paid, and then the only thing I really needed to do was spend an hour or so just buying the white battle axes in Falador, which cost 1,248 GP each, and I was getting paid 4k each. I did a couple of days worth first just to make sure the guy was legit. After all, in just 2 days I spent 10.9 mil, and of course he was, and he paid me 18.24 mil, so I very kindly offered to do a week's worth for him because I'm such a nice guy. That next batch cost me 32.7 million GP, and he even gave me a tip and paid me 52 million GP. And the only work I really did for this was spend 15 minutes putting those offers in on a bunch of accounts, and then 2 to 3 hours to get all the white battle axes. It was very tempting to keep doing that, it was great money, but I got another request which was for free to play items which I thought would be great to test out. Well, you know when you try to do the Shield of Arrav quest and you go in the Discord, there's always that guy who'll give you a certificate for the shield, and when you ask how much they say, oh whatever, just whatever you like. In other words, I don't want to set a price because secretly I'm hoping that you just overpay me. Well, this is the guy, and he was offering me 15 to 20,000 GP for each one that I got him, and you get 2 at a time when you do this. Now I've never done this before and I thought he was seriously overpaying. I even offered to do it for 10k each. Mainly because I presume that you could just simply use the drop trick at the chest and get more shields, but you can't. The only option you have for the shield is to destroy it, and the way you actually get more tickets is to exchange the half of the shield that you have for 2 tickets, and instead of completing the quest after that, if you search the chest again, you can get another half a shield and then trade that in for another 2 tickets. The fastest way to do it is to loot the chest, teleport to Varg, and then run to the museum, and that run typically takes just over a minute if you teleport, or just under a minute and a half if you just simply run, so between 90 and 120 tickets per hour. However, that is per account, and you can easily do this on multiple accounts. In fact, I did it on 2, 1 for each side, and 4 would be just as easy. He asked me for 180 tickets, and in the end I charged him 15k each, as it was a little bit longer than I expected first of all, which worked out to 2.7 million GP. That equaled 1.35 million GP per hour per account, and as I said before, you can easily do 4 at a time. Not bad at all for a free-to-play moneymaker. So if you have any unique or very strange moneymakers that you want me to try out, please let me know in the comments and I'll do them in the next one.